As we came up closer and closer, we could see Pearl Harbor, but sure enough, the Japs had fled. They had heard I was coming and decided to split. The time of the year that we were arriving in Hawaii, I think about November 1st, 1944. So we arrived, and I don't know that I remember a lot about the landing, except we landed at Hickam Field. There was 2 fields there, the Navy field and an Air Force field, Army Air Force. They were right next door to each other, and they were, of course, still you could see the building pock-marked from the war. Had been completely cleaned up and fixed up, although there was very little evidence of real destruction there in Pearl Harbor, in which we looked around very interestedly. And they said, "Oh, we're so glad to see you. We want your airplane." So they took my brand new B-24 away from me and sent it overseas. Well, I never saw the poor thing again until many months later. The war was nearly over, and it was coming in with an engine on fire or was out. I think they finally junked it. By this time, they had many thousand hours on it. It had been flown constantly by many crews. The only thing I have to remember that by is the steering wheel button. It says Convair. I still have it up in my trunk. Yeah, everybody took one off because they disappeared so fast. You had to get one faster. You didn't get one. Of course, a memento. And I got mine, and I was going to always put it on when I flew, and it had my name scratched in it, though it was mine. Consolidated Kemp, it said on it. But anyway, it's in the trunk. If you want to see it, I'll show it to you someday. They took my airplane away from me, and we were flown to Kauai from Hickam Field, which is 150 miles or so to the north of the main island of Oahu. And there was a place there called Barking Sands. There was an L-shaped runway. It was sort of more like an L, like a boomerang, with the up one side and down the other, and just sort of ran along the coast. And they took all these flying crews up there and parked us and said, "Well, here you are, and we'll probably send you overseas and we can work it in when we're ready for you." Well, we spent an entire month there, and all we had to do was just lay along the beach. And we didn't realize here we were at almost like a rest leave in Hawaiian Islands. The only worst thing about it was we were on a place that it was Army barracks, and we didn't have any vehicles or anything, nor were there any nightclubs or anything around to see at all. There was just an Army base. There weren't even any girls, so it made it kind of dull. Well, after we were there for about a month, then they got us together and took us back to Hickam Field and gave us some airplanes. I got this old airplane I was mentioning earlier in the tape that didn't know how to fly square, and I flew it on the rest of the way overseas. But it did use a lot of fuel. It didn't ride poorly. And then we landed at a place called Kwajalein. So I really began to realize now what the war was like, because we were getting close to the war zone. This place looked shredded, and there was very little of anything nice around left. The trees were all burnt out and shot off. There was a lot of rain and pools of water around every place, because every time it turned around it was raining, dry up and go back again. So we arrived at Kwajalein. That we were there the first night I ever realized I was really in the war, because they had an air raid, and I was a bit concerned about that, because I didn't know quite what to do about it. I know as I heard the L sirens go off, and we were all supposed to do something, but we didn't know what. Look around, nothing ever happened. We never heard any bombs falling, so I guess it could have been just an airplane coming back without its IFF on, which was a little gadget that was in the airplane that broadcasted a certain code signal that when you flew in, they know you were one of the boys that belonged there, not a Jap.